Howdy folks, Keith Bone here, and this is Hard Rock University. Today I'd like to talk to you just a little bit about a new tool we've created to help people evaluate a project. Now, I've looked at lots of projects, I've been in the business a long time, so I know what to look for, and other people do not. So, what I wanted to do is give something so that if you don't have a lot of experience, you can not miss anything real obvious real fast. So we've created the project checklist. Now if you go to our website at hardrocku.com, there will be a little bar on there to download this. Right now it's an instant download. The person I have working on the website was not able to determine how to do a click, you see it, and then you can download it sort of thing. So when you click on it, it downloads it in your computer and you can print it from there. Sorry, Microsoft Word file. Anyhow, what the project checklist is just all these things that you need to find out before you can even really make an evaluation. So I'll just go down in here and explain everything in some quick detail so that when you get to the website and download it, if you have any questions, you can look at it. This is an initial project evaluation checklist. That means this is some initially, this is what the quick survey. This is before it gets all detailed and you got lots of samples and done a lot of work. Okay? This is so you can evaluate and eliminate. Date, project name, project location. You know, the state, the area, the mining district, the name of the mine, township, section, range, all these sort of things so that you can take that information and go back to the county recorders or whatever and get even more information. You can go to the mining agency in your area and get more information. So put down all the specifics there, and better to have too much information than too little. Now, on land you can have a mineral rights owner and a surface rights owner. They're not necessarily the same person or entity, so you need to make sure. In the case of a normal mining claim on federal land, the mineral rights owner would be the claim owner and the surface rights owner would be the U.S. government, Bureau of Land Management, Forest Service, whatever. However, you can have a situation like homesteaded land. The homestead normally did not include the mineral rights, so you can have somebody with the surface rights, somebody else with the mineral rights. You need to be certain of that before you start spending too much money. Okay? And then also here I have point of contact. Often the owner is not the person who you're dealing with. Quite often it is, sometimes it isn't, so this gives you somebody else, and this is the person you would normally talk to. Then we get to page 2, and it also starts project and date. That's because these are separate sheets. If you get them lost, you want to be able to put the right sheets with the right sheets. Okay. It says type of project. Is this underground? Is this surface? Is it placer? Is it lode? Basically, what general type of mine are you looking at here? And it can be a combination. It could be a lode and a placer. Okay? Don't know. But that's just to generally delineate what type of situation you're looking at. Then there's 3 ore bodies, ore body 1, 2, 3. If you had separate veins, you might have a vein and a disseminated ore body. You could have a vein and an associated placer. You could have 2 different channels for 2 different placers, whatever. It just gives you some areas where you can put different things. Estimated tons, estimated grade. Now these are just going to be real oddball stuff at first. They may be just what the guy says he thinks, but it gives you some place to write down this data. And then you got waste dumps 1, 2, 3, and 4, estimated tons, estimated grades. Now those are a little easier because now you have a solid object to look at. You can say the waste dump is so wide, so tall, so long. Okay? You can take a sample or samples of it and get a fairly good number of what that last layer on the waste dump is, at least fairly easily. Now, this is a definition here. A lot of people get this screwed up. Waste is the rock that is thrown away without processing in order to get to ore. Ore being the rock that will be processed. Tailings are the residual depleted rock left over after the ore has been processed. So you have ore, waste, and tailings. The pile of rocks at the entrance of a mine is not tailings. That is the waste dump. Or you could even have a waste dump on one side and an ore dump on the other where they would stockpile it. Quite often you call it an ore stockpile and a waste dump because you're planning on using the ore later. But anyhow, got places for those. Page 3, you got land status. What is this stuff? Is this standard BLM land? Is this Forest Service? Is this withdrawn? Is this wilderness area? Is this private land? Whatever. Is it a patented claim? That's what you put in that. Permits required. If it's going to be a very small project on private property or patented land, you may not need any permits. It says permits in place. The permits that are currently extant may be adequate for what you're doing. Maybe not. You write it down. And then there's a little space for permitting concerns. For example, if it's on Forest Service land in California, one of the concerns is they simply don't like to approve any plans of operations. Okay? Ask the people around. That'll give you an idea what the atmosphere is. Okay? Access. How do you get to this thing? Is there a road? Did you have to hike? Is this an established right-of-way where you have a right to pass? Or is this just a deep trail which the Forest Service can cut off at any time? You know? What kind of access do you have? How far? How long does it take to get there? Is it rough? Is it smooth? Can you drive trucks? Like 10-wheeled trucks, things like that? Or is it just a jeep trail? Write that right down in there. Something that a lot of people don't think about, except in the desert, is water. Now, almost all mineral processes require water. So if you're planning on actually doing anything at the mine, you're going to have to have enough water to do it. Out the west here, all the water's already taken. There is no free water anywhere. So you're going to have to see, do you have water rights? Does the neighbor have water rights? Do you live close to a city where you can just buy water? These are questions you have to answer. Is there power? Are there power lines or anything like that? Usually the answer will be no, but there might be. If so, that's cool if you can tap into it. If it's a high tension transmission line, it's not going to do you a bit of good, but it's something you need to take into account. Structures and infrastructure. Does it have any buildings? Does it have roads, pads, large flat areas that you can do stuff on? Does it have any ponds, wells, anything like that? The stuff that you'll have to build if it isn't there. And weather and safety issues. For example, way up north in Montana, you may only be able to work 3 or 4 months of the year if it's at an elevation or something. There may be very limited opportunities to actually work. Security concerns. Down here, we're close to the Mexican border. I'm going to be going to view a mine on Sunday with a guy. It's like 1.5 miles from the border of Mexico in an isolated area. And that could pose some challenges. It may not. We'll see. But that's something you need to take a look at. And then, on page 4, the proposed agreement. What does the mine owner want in exchange for whatever you're planning on giving? Is this a consulting? Is this a joint venture? Is this a lease? Write it down. You want everything written down so you don't get confused. And then finally there's just a bunch of stuff for other notes. Anything in particular that you may just want to record. Different people's names, claim names, anything like that. Just some notes. Now this is not necessarily entirely comprehensive. It's not meant to be. What it is it's kind of a blueprint or a roadmap for a relatively inexperienced person to go through and kind of check off all the important points real quick. A lot of those things you may not be able to fill in without doing a lot of research, like water rights. But it lets you know there's something you need to research before you make a decision. So that's basically what it is. Very simple, 4 pages. I'm sure if you got Microsoft Word, you can sit there and add on to it whatever you want. But whatever, but that's what it's there for, is to record all this information and to give you a guideline on what you need to do. So happy prospecting and keep it safe out there.